Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am super pumped for tonight. I also want to apologize quickly because I wasn't on last week. Reason being, it was my girl's birthday party, so I went and celebrated with her. But I am back and I am ready to share some valuable content and share my girl's story. So before we dive right in, if you're new to my broadcast, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Ashley. I am the CEO and founder of Enriched Life by Design. I am also the talk show host of Gossip Girls, my live informative broadcast where I share everything business, family, relationships, you name it, I'm going to touch on it. I am a huge believer that we have been put on this planet to share our passion and do what fuels our fire and our soul. So what the heck are we doing here if we're not doing that, right? Anyways, the one favor I ask of all of you is to refer a friend to my broadcast because I want to share my valuable content with as many people on this beautiful planet as we can. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my girl out. Her name is Rebecca Wells. She is one of the most amazing people I have met since I have been in the entrepreneurial community, and I just love her to death. We connected actually over a Christmas party with our team. I just love her so much. So here she is, Miss Rebecca Wells. Hi.
Hello. Am I on now?
You're on.
Thank you for the amazing introduction.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I feel very flattered right now. I'm just sharing this live really quickly as we get going here.
Definitely.
And then, yes, hi.
Hi. Super excited to have you on. You were actually one of the first people I thought of, but I didn't reach out to you right away, and I don't know why.
Probably the resting bitch face that I have.
Maybe. We kind of both have that, don't we?
I've been blessed with it. I roll with it now.
Todd actually pretty much told me that the first 2 days of Awaken, he was like, you had like resting bitch face for like 2 days. And I was like, that's just my face.
I'm pretty sure like I had it for all of Awaken and then like the first like 3 days of the next course. So before I was like able to shed it away.
So funny.
We'll get into what that stuff is.
We'll move into that a little later. But cheers, girl.
Yes. Cheers.
White and red.
Cheers. Mm-hmm. I only ever drink the red.
I'm more of a white girl.
I'm allergic. I can't do it.
Fair enough.
So yes,
that would make me not drink the white wine. So anyways, girl, I want to know a little bit about your backstory because we have talked a few times, but I haven't really dove right into like the whole story of Rebecca. So like, why marketing? What did you start with? Like, what's your regular job? What's going on there?
Okay, well, I'll like backtrack quite a bit. So
Sure.
When I was really little, so I grew up on Vancouver Island, Camel River, like a smaller community right on the ocean. And growing up, I always had said, I'm going to be a registered nurse when I'm older. It was ingrained in me. That's what I knew. Yeah. That's what I was always going to do. I loved helping people. I had this very strong passion to just be and help. And whenever someone like in school, anytime someone would get hurt, I would be like the first person there, like, what can I do? How can I help you? Right. What's going on? That was sort of me. That was just what I did. I also played very competitive sports growing up. But I had a really crappy attitude. So just lots of things that like, I was so competitive that I was like, why is not everyone else like trying their best? But really, I had no idea that everyone does try their best, but it's all in their own ways. Right. But when I was like the age of like 12 to 16, even older, I didn't comprehend that. I just was like angry all the time.
Yeah.
And then, so I took a year off of high school because I was like, I can't go back to school. I don't like school. This is not for me. I was never a straight A student. I was like, C's get degrees. This is how I'm going to do it. This is cool. But like, I need some time off. So I actually packed my things with a few buddies from school, and we actually moved to Fernie. Oh. And I was born in Fernie. And
that's crazy. What?
I know, right? We left when I was really little. Total ski bum. Like rocked it up hard. Like I worked at the ski base in Fernie, had the freaking time of my life, snowboarding like every single day, a couple hours. I was sneaking into bars at 18. Like it was just until they all figured out who I was, and they're like, you have to go. I was like, dang it. And then, so then it was just from there, I did a year there and I was completely broke. I was like, oh my gosh, I had deferred school a year and I was like, okay, I need to go back to school because I can't just do paycheck to paycheck for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then so I started nursing school in 2008. 2 months into school, I met Kent, who is my now fiance. We've been together, well, since 2008. So we're in our 11th year now.
Yeah.
Then in 2010, I was 2 years into nursing school. I actually quit nursing school, took a year off. I was like, there has got to be something more to life than this. Like, I am stuck. I just like, don't think this is what I love. I don't know what I want. I don't know if this is what I expected nursing to be. Like, I just I wasn't sure. So then 2013, I actually graduated. So I did go back. In the year off that I took, we bought our first home. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get married. Then it was like a flip in our relationship a little bit. He's like, this isn't what I expected. Like, you're not in school. So then I went back to school. We moved to Vancouver Island. I finished school there, graduated in 2013. And then we moved back here. Somewhere in there, we got engaged. I think it was 2013 on a Christmas day. I can't remember. And then 2015, we planned to start our family. Hello, little man back there.
Go throw it away. Go have a banana.
So then in 2015, we decided, okay, I gave an ultimatum. I thought ultimatums were wonderful back then. I said, we need to either start planning our wedding or we need to have a baby. Think about it. Come back to me.
Yeah.
We were actually in a really good place, but I was just kind of like, felt like we were stagnant. We were like, okay, like something's got to progress here. Came back, he said, let's start our family. I was shocked by the answer, but very excited because I'd always wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
So we got pregnant right away off the get-go, miscarried, then got pregnant right away again. And so, I mean, these things happen. It's totally, I mean, I always talk about it. I tell people because it needs to become normalized. Then we have our son, Caleb. He was born. We went through quite a few struggles once we had him. I'll get into that in a little bit. And then in 2017, it was actually my fiance who discovered we joined into the marketing, and it's completely changed the direction of everything in our life, which it's been incredible. Lots of personal development in the last 2 years. We've gone to a lot of courses, just over a year of literally just diving in and working on ourselves. It's been absolutely insane, to be honest.
Awesome. I think it's awesome that you knew that there needed to be a shift, but at one point you thought it was a different shift that needed to occur. And then you come to realize like, no, this is where we need to be. We need to work on ourselves. We need to fill our cup first. We're getting a lot of feedback. Are you hearing feedback?
I'm not hearing anything.
No? Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone watching? There's a few people.
There's a few people on.
But
feedback, just let us know. But yeah, no, I think that's awesome that you took it upon yourselves to say, we need to do this right now. This is what needs to happen, and just went for it. I think that's awesome. So awesome.
What's like so crazy too is it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It's usually, I would like to say majority of the time, but that's an assumption. It's not always, but it's usually the women that are like finding the things that like, let's work on ourselves, and sometimes have to push the men. And it was really a point in our life when Kent was finally like, there has to be more. There's got to be more than this whole 5 days a week, 9 to 5 job, like whatever it is. He's like, there has to be more. And so he really started like looking into stuff. And when like we've known Carly for 10 years. And so we saw her making a change in her life. And I remember I saw her very first live announcing what she was going to be doing. Yeah. And I looked at Kent and I was like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. She's tried a lot of things. Like, I don't know. And then I remember seeing that first post where I retired my husband. And it was like,
what?
I'm like, where's Aaron now? Like, what? And I said to Kent, and so I actually said to Kent, I said, I don't know what she's doing, but if you don't feel fulfilled in everything you're doing, like maybe check it out. Yeah. And that's all I said. Yeah. Next thing I knew, he's coming up to me and telling me about this investment and everything that he's going to be doing. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. Hold the phone here. What? And But I fully supported him, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But I support you.
Yeah.
So he was hiding in the office all the time, and all of a sudden I saw him on all these Zoom calls, and like with like people like legit that he's never like we've never met other than of course Carly. Like, how can we help you? What are your goals? What do you want out of life? What do you? And I'm like, what? There's people like this in the world, like.
I know, right?
I would hide on the bed, and then finally it was like a couple months in, I was like, okay, like there's really like this is something.
Yeah.
This really is something here. And I can't believe that I thought it was like fake.
Yeah. I know.
And I was legit like, I can't even believe it. And I want in, how can I be in it? How can I be a part of this? How can I support you? And that's when we formulated our page together.
Yeah.
And so it was powerful.
Yeah.
And that's where it sort of journeyed. And I started the magic, and it was literally, I felt like I was on a high riding on a cloud being like, I actually have so much in my life to be grateful for. Why do I keep saying I need, and I want, when I had everything I'd ever thought of wanting?
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy when it gets like slapped in your face like that. Like, you don't live a horrible life. You have everything. People are craving a life like yours. They're dying to have a life like what you have, and then for you to actually sit down and go, holy shit, I have a great life. It may not be perfect, but what's perfect? Like, what is the definition of perfect? Perfection doesn't exist.
Exactly.
It's an illusion. So I think it's really awesome when you do finally touch base on that side of yourself and can really understand that there's so much growth that can happen in your life, that perfection isn't there. And it's not about needs and wants. It's just about living your life and enjoying the fucking journey, right? Exactly. It's not about the destination. It's about how you live your life. Like, I don't want to be that 95-year-old woman on my deathbed going, oh, I really wish I would have done that. Saying to my grandkids, like, make sure you do this and make sure you do this. Like, I want them to be like, Grandma, you had the best life ever. Right? Like, totally. That's how I want to remember my life.
I'm right on board with that. And I want like my kids to remember, like, Mom was always there. Like, Mom was here. Like, she was there. She wasn't stuck at work 12 hours, like nights and days. Like, and that's not to say I'm ever going to give up nursing, because I haven't decided, because getting to have the opportunity or like the option of being casual, you can kind of pick and choose. It's like, okay, I'm needing that like fix, because there are so many aspects to that career path that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. But I had suffered from, like, I was getting really bad insomnia from stress and anxiety, and I wasn't sleeping. I was often sick, and it was amazing how much I worried, and had that worry created all the stressors that came along with it all.
Totally. And stress is like the killer of everything. Like, if you're stressed out, you're sick all the time, you're gaining weight, you probably eat emotionally all the time, like all the time.
I love me some chips. Oh,
amen, sister.
Salt and vinegar, like, hello to the world.
Oh, totally. And like, you drink or you do other things to try and relax your system, and it's so toxic. And like, my husband works at the coal mines up here, and he's so tired of being a number. Even though he's very recognized for what he does up there, he's still a number, and he still like gets into that rut of being with all of these guys who are super negative all the time. They hate their fucking jobs. They complain about everything under the sun. And sometimes he'll come home and he's just like so negative, and I'll catch it instantly. And I'll be like, babe, you seriously just need to go sit by yourself for like 5 minutes, go sit in the hot tub, go have a shower, whatever it is you need to do, regroup, and when you're ready, come back to the family, because you are so not in a good space right now, and it's affecting all of us. And I'm the same way. Like, if I get in that headspace, I have to like do my workout right away, and then a good long hour of lifting, and I'm like, okay, I'm better, everything's fine. But I'll notice, like, I'll be sitting here, if I'm sitting on my computer for too long or working for too long, I'll turn into my kids almost. Like, when your kids watch too much TV and they get that attitude, I do that. And I
Or
think
you get like angry.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, whoa. And because my emotions and my energy totally projects and affects everyone, every
Absolutely.
single person. So I need to be very aware of that when it starts to happen and just like take a step back. Nobody talk to me. Just let me go do my thing. I'll be back. And I'll be back a better person. Just give me 5. you know?
And it's so important to recognize that, and even have like that spouse or that partner to just be like, hey, I think you need to take a minute.
Yeah.
And instead of having that battle when you get home, like when 2 people are working and you both get home, it's like, who had the worst day? Let's see who's going to get waited on tonight. Like, my day was so stressful. It was so rough. I didn't get my breaks. I didn't get this. I didn't get. So it's like it's a battle, right? And having that person to be like, okay, let's just take 10.
Yeah.
And like regroup so that we can be fully present with our children.
Yeah.
Or with each other.
Yeah.
And like, it's not about what happened during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When we come home, it's about letting go and being okay with whatever did happen and just moving forward, because now is the time to be together if that's the only time that you get together.
Yeah. So one thing that has really kind of struck a chord with me and that I need to actually start implementing more often is leaving my phone in the car when I get home. Right? So just leaving it there, coming in the house and not touching your phone, not looking at social media, not checking your messages or your emails, just coming home and being present with your family for the first hour that you're home. It's no different than not touching your phone for that first hour you wake up in the morning. And Ed Milet was the one that actually said this. He's like, when I get home from work in the day, I leave my phone in my car and I do not touch my phone for at least an hour that I've been home, so that I can be completely present with my family. And I was like, that's actually a really good idea, because that is the first thing I do when I walk in the door. Oh, hey, everybody. And then I'm like checking everything on my phone, right? Because I probably haven't checked it that much at work, right? So that's the first, my head just goes to work. It's like, okay, I got to check all my messages. Do I though? No, they've been waiting all day. I think another hour is not going to kill them, right?
Yeah. And or like you can pick up an extra hour of overtime at work. Like that's like, you can just treat it as like something like that. Or, I mean, who doesn't love going camping and completely disconnecting from the entire world?
Oh, I know, right?
Like that's got to be my favorite time is when I am out of service.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how we forget that we even have a device to even look at when we go out of service, and we're fully present with each other, with our kids, like even our pets, like get the love that they need instead of like the phone or the computer, whatever it might be, and fully disconnecting. I love that. Like we definitely put the effort in to put our phones away.
Yep.
For a certain amount of time. I've been guilty lately that I have not done that, because I know if Kent watches this, he's going to be like, No, you haven't.
Well, since I got back from Awaken, I've had quite a few mornings where I don't even touch my phone till like noon. I leave my Wi-Fi off. My Wi-Fi goes off at like 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I don't turn it back on until whenever the next day. And there was actually one day right after Awaken, I didn't touch my phone till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, holy crap. And it felt so good. So good. Just like saying no to things now, like not taking on so much, just like
saying yes to yourself.
Yeah. Like, are you going to be on that team call today? Nope. And I was talking to Jenna. I think Jenna's actually watching right now. She's like, are you going to watch the team call today? And I'm like, nope. It's Chris's split. Him and I are just going to chill. We're just going to Netflix and chill, have our own time, hang out with each other, spend some time with the kids. And then I was like, ooh, that felt really good. I want to say it again. No. Like, no, I'm not. Like, and it felt so good. Like, I don't feel that obligation to have to do these things anymore. It's like, I'll do it if I feel like it. And if I'm not vibing with it, if I don't feel the energy to do that, if I'm feeling being drawn to something else, I'm going to go do that other thing, because there's a reason for that.
Absolutely. And what I think is so cool is like, yes. And what I think is so cool is so many times people will ask, assuming that we'll always say yes. Right. But what I know for myself, whenever I ask for someone something, I expect a no. Like I'm okay before I ask something. I'm okay if this person will say no to me. Yeah. Because You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because sometimes when people say no, they're saying yes to themselves, and that's self-care.
Yeah,
And
totally.
if they truly don't want to do it, that's also being self-care, like saying no, because it's so important to say yes to ourselves and do things that are going to fill us up. And sometimes it's not always, I mean, I'm not saying don't help people, obviously, like, you know what I mean? But like, it's about filling our cup. And do we have the time? Do we have the space to allow this to put our energy there in that moment?
Yeah. And if you're finding that you're putting things off that you truly love to do something that you're like, about, like, don't do the thing. Do the thing you want to fucking do.
Absolutely.
Like, stand up for yourself, right?
Shit, yeah. Like, I got a message the other day. Ball starts May 1st. I'm like, okay, I'm there. Like, I honestly cannot wait to get out on the ball field because the snow has been here way too long. And that is like, that's my jam. That's my release. That is like, that's what I've done my whole life.
Yeah.
Like forever. So it's just like, I can't even wait. I don't care that it's beer league slow pitch.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm throwing the ball. I'm interacting with people that I love that have the same passion, and we get to hit and just
have fun.
Great. Yeah. So like finding those things that really, like, I struggled this winter. We moved and I was further away from my hiking trails and all the things I love to do. Plus I had a toddler that didn't necessarily, he wouldn't go in a backpack for snowshoeing because he wants to do his own thing, right?
Yeah.
So instead of getting that energy burn and like going for like a 2-hour snowshoe when I used to pull him in the sled behind me, you go sledding. You don't work out. Like, you just go sledding, or you do something else that involves your kids, right? So sometimes getting that heart rate up or that energy of what we normally used to do, it was hard for me this winter. I'm not going to lie. Like, I struggled. And so it was like, I just can't wait now because we go outside all the time. Even just now we get to go for a 40-minute walk, and that's play. Like,
totally.
Which is great. So it's really about finding those things that really fill your own cup. Because I've noticed a massive energy shift in myself. The second that snow was gone, it was like, let's go.
Right? Oh my gosh. I was the same way. I like went for a run the one day. It was funny. I went to go do my workout actually, and Beachbody On Demand was down on every server. Like, you couldn't use it on your phone, your computer, your TV, nothing. And I was like, I was having a day. Like, I was like livid. And my husband was like, why don't you just go for a run? And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to go do that. And Rebecca, not even shitting you, I ran, my peak heart rate was at like peak for 19 straight minutes. That's how fast I was running. I ran like 5K in like less than a half an hour and just fucking gave her. Like, my dogs weren't even able to keep up. My dogs were tired.
See, and like, that's what's so awesome too. Plus you're outside, so you're getting all the fresh air, and it just like, sometimes you just need to run so hard or do something so hard until you feel that breakthrough. And it's just like, all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's so much better.
I feel so much better. I like walked in the door and I was like smiling and I felt awesome. And Chris was like, did you have a good run? I was like, oh my God, so good. It was exactly what I needed.
Awesome. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's so perfect.
We kind of touched on a few things there. I want to touch on your mindset transformation a little bit more because, like you were saying, you were like, from the beginning, and then something happened. So let's dive into that. Like, where did that go? How did that happen?
So, well, first it was like literally me just being nosy, and like where do I start? Okay. Okay. I'm going to start with when I was younger.
Okay.
When I played sports, I was extremely competitive, but I was like not nice. I was very like, I had a pissed off look on my face all the time. I was very mad all the time. Like, if we lost, I did not know how to lose. I did not know how to strike out in baseball. If I messed up, it was like the game is over, even if it was in the first 5 minutes of the game. Like, I was angry. Right. And so that kind of played into a lot of like, as I got older, in my relationship, I would have slight outbursts. I'd be like, how do you not know? Like, why isn't this working?
You sound like me.
Right. So it's crazy. Like, sometimes we're a mirror for another person. Right.
Totally.
And so like all of these things, and it was very much, I would place a lot of blame and expectations on other people. Like, things aren't working out because you're doing this. Like, I was perfect. I never did anything.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, what are you talking about? I'm awesome. But like, in the back of my head, at the same time, it's like, you have those battles of like, why doesn't anyone like me? What's wrong with me? Like, why are like all these same battles happening at the same time as you're like, what the, like, you screwed up. Like, this is on you. Like, that inability to take ownership for the things that we're doing. That was something that I struggled with since I was very young. And so we went through some hard times in our relationship. And when Kent found this, I had actually, I think I'd been back for a few months. Our son was maybe like 6-ish, 7 months old. So I actually picked up, I left at one point with our son. I went and lived with my parents for a couple months. He was only a couple months old, like not recognizing that a lot of the like crap happening in our life was because of me also. Right. So it's never on one person ever in any relationship, unless like someone goes and sleeps with someone else. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
agreed.
It is like a two-way. Everything is, there's two people involved always. And that was something I didn't realize. And so when Kent discovered this online marketing, it literally, I realized, oh my gosh, this is like, how do people, like, I want to just give everyone all of my money because like, I'm feeling happy for the first time in my whole life. Like, what do you want? Here you go. Here you go. Like, what's going on? And so he actually purchased our tickets to Awaken. Okay. I was terrified, like sweating buckets. I wanted to puke, and I could barely even walk into the building. Like, I was like, I don't think I'm going. Like, I can't do this. I carpooled with a couple other people because we went to the Edmonton one here. Right. And went to there. I resisted for most of the time yet. So Awaken is like an experiential, for anyone watching that doesn't know, Awaken is an experiential personal development course where it's very individual, and you go through 28 guided experiential things, we'll say, practices. And it really hones in, like, you get to discover yourself when you were young again, and you get to see so many cool things. And it's just like the power of the mind is amazing, and what it brings up, and the things that we're able to, like, at least for myself, the things I was able to deal with and see, like, oh my gosh, that is why I act this way. And having never gone through the series in the way that they have the whole course laid out, I never would have broke that down, or maybe I would have, but I would have been 55, 70, like who knows how old. Right. And really recognize like that my dreams, my aspirations are still legit. Those are, it's okay to have them and to maybe switch careers one day. And that's okay too, because we're not stuck in one career for the rest of our life, which I always had thought. Right. We work forever to build our beautiful pensions, and but which really
might not even exist by the time we retire.
Well, there's that too. But like, like, you have to work 35, 40 years for one company to get a beautiful pension. Yeah. So it's kind of a trade-off, really, right? Like,
it's like a mind fuck trap, really, when you think about it.
So,
right?
Yeah.
You work for me for this amount of time. I'm going to undervalue and underappreciate you, and then sort of give you a little bit so you can kind of survive when you're a senior citizen.
I'm sorry, what's your number?
Right?
Anyways, so I did Awaken, and Kent and I, when we had finished that course, it's actually a trilogy. So there's 3 courses. One's called Awaken, one's called Activate, the next one's called Accelerate. And we just kind of looked at each other, and it was a no-brainer. Yeah. It was the easiest decision we've ever made. We didn't necessarily have the funds to do it. We found them. Yeah. And we went. And so it was only 2 months after we went to Awaken. Yeah. When we went to Activate. And it was 7 days in New Mexico at a incredible, like, how shall we say, type resort, I guess I'll say. Yeah. And we completely disconnected. Our phones were off for the whole week. So also keep in mind, like, we had a 1-year-old. Yeah. Like he had
hard.
just stopped nursing.
Oh.
He like, well, maybe not just,
But your hormones are doing all the
pretty
things.
close to just. And like, we haven't spent really any time away from him. The only thing that he's ever done is one night overnight at Nana and Papa's. Like, it's been like, that's it. And so, well, and then I think it was 3 nights when we went to Awaken. So he very much adjusted incredibly. I couldn't even believe it. I didn't even know though, because literally we hopped on our plane, phones were gone pretty much. Like, they were gone. So we were gone 9 days, I think it was in total, 9 days. And so it was the most mind-blowing experience of my life. So I had a lot of realizations and things at Awaken. Like, I realized a lot of things about myself. And yet even in those 2 months following it, I lost a lot of that like hype, and I lost a lot of, okay, like, what am I really supposed to be doing with all this information that I learned about myself? Like, what do I do with it? I didn't know. I was like, oh my gosh, like, feeling bottled up. I wasn't sure like what to do with all of this. And like, I had all of these ideas of to continue forward, but like, what's really holding me back? Why am I not doing it? So anyways, through Activate, I got to go through like some very hard experiential things that really tested me. It tested my fears, my excitement. It tested like everything. And I literally was able to discover the feeling I have when I push outside of my comfort zone. So now, like, when I do certain things and I'll find myself kind of pulling back, I'm like, oh, there's my sign. Like, I really got it. There's that feeling. Like, I put a feeling to the emotion, and now I know what it feels like to push through that and really get to the other side, because I know how freaking good it's going to feel when I push past it. Right. And so that's really what I discovered there. Not only that, but how to let people in. I was pushing people away a lot, and there were certain things that I went through there where I really learned to let people support me and to let people like for myself to like let people love me. And I built a family there of like people I'd never met. There was 49 of us, and like I could call any one of them up and be like, yo, like, I haven't talked to you in a year, but like, hey. And it would be so simple. And it was the most incredible thing I've ever gone through. Like, I actually just got tattooed the other day. It's an arrow coming out of me that says Activated. And because it meant that much to me. And like, I'm never going back. I'm never going to feel the way that I had felt previously. And I'm so excited because now I just get to continue. Like, this May, we weren't able to go to last year because of childcare, but because Kent and I have been doing this trilogy together. So we wanted to continue doing it together. So we're going to accelerate next month. And so we are so incredibly excited about it. It's a leadership of self, is all I know. And it's a leadership course, and we can't wait to go to that and see what is going to be created within our life after this. And like, from all of these courses and from like the online marketing, like, I was terrified of the camera. I fucking love the camera now. Like, I will go on any live video. I will just jump on there, no makeup, like gross pajama. I don't care. Like, whereas I used to think like I have to look perfect, and then I would be like, there's my script and this is what I have to do. And then it would be like, so today, and like, but like, even just turning the camera on was like this massive, like, I would think about it for days. Right. And so like, I was able to work through a lot of the fears and like all the things that come along with becoming an online marketer and learning how to do all those things, because they say like, you don't have to do videos, but you're going to get so much more reach, or you're going to get this, you're going to get that, right? Like, video is the way to go. And it's very much became really exciting, and it's become fun. And it's so lots of those fears that I used to have, I've looked at a way, like, I was scared because it was going to be great. Right. Most things we're scared of are going to be great. Absolutely. And so like, it really pulled it all together for me. And it's just like pushing myself forward.
I totally get where you're coming from. Like, I've only been to Awaken, but I mean, you did my follow-up call, and I think I was still very emotional days later, and I was still like, anytime I would even think about some of the practices we would go through, or some of the things that I thought of while I was there, instant tears, like instant, and not sad tears by any means. It was just like this, I don't even know how to, you can't explain it. It was just like this.
It's like an overwhelming emotion of like gratitude almost.
Gratitude and just a sense of knowing, like a sense of knowing your path. Like I came home and instantly dove into my work again, but in a different way. Like it wasn't the first thing I did in the day. I spent more time with my kids. I was making sure that they came first, because that for me was my biggest thing, was that I would just do this and I would block out everything else. I would have like complete tunnel vision. Not that tunnel vision isn't a bad thing to have, because there are times when it's very good to have that sort of mindset, but I was doing it all the time. And I was forgetting about the people that were around me, the people that meant the most to me, that were allowing me to do what I was doing in the first place. Right. And yeah, I remember talking to you and just being like a blubbering baby and being like, oh my God, just so many things. But like my podcast is getting started right away. Like I said, I wasn't going to start that till June. It's probably coming out next week. Like I'm super pumped about that. So excited. I have a course that's being built right now. Me and Jenna are building our course. Like that is insane in itself. I can't believe I'm putting out an 8-week course to help women get through the gray areas that I had to dig through to figure it out on my own. Just so many things just like started clicking. It was like, no, I'm not going to put that off anymore. The second I would say to myself, oh, I can do that later, I would do it now. It's like, no, we're doing it now. As long as it didn't interfere with everything else that was happening in my life. Right. And that was the thing that really opened my mind, was that, oh, okay, like now I know a better way to structurize everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like in my mind, I actually can sit back and like sit in my office and play it out and be like, I need to do this first before I even do that. That doesn't matter right now. I need to do that later. Like we're okay. We can adapt. We can adjust. We can do that another time. It's not a big deal. Like me and Jenna were talking the other day. I haven't had a call to action ad running in I don't even know how long, and I don't care.
See, and that's what's so cool about it all, because it's not an instant gratification on where like the dollar signs are. Like it no longer matters. Like that's often the grabbing point for everyone. And that's something I found really powerful, is like, I have to invest,
Yeah.
Not
and
recognizing recognizing what I would get.
Take my money.
That's like at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm so happy. Like I don't like, what do you say? What do you want me to do? You want me to what? Like, I'm kidding. But like, seriously, it's very much like, I can't even, like, I'm still paying student loans. They're literally almost gone.
Yeah.
But how much do we invest in university and so many things, not even sure it's what we want to do for the rest of our lives?
I know. It's like that blueprint that's been put inside of us. And it was like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. Right.
And we evolve, and our ideas evolve, and our dreams evolve, and everything it changes as we go. Unless we're so sure to spend so much money and go into so much debt. Like I look at the investment we create when we start our online marketing businesses, and it is pennies compared to everything else. And not only that, we are healthier, we are happier. We put in we practice gratitude. Like, say what? Like, I know that Carrie was on here earlier, and I had said to her once, she was talking about haters and like people out there that are like, why is people bashing? And I said, I cannot wait for the day that the haters are the weird ones, and the people that are happy and practicing gratitude and talking about being happy are the normal ones.
I know, because we're the ones drinking the Kool-Aid right now, right?
Well, and no one
gets it. You can't explain what we do to people. They just don't get it. They're like, but what do you sell? And it's like, it's not about that. Like, yes, we sell a product. We don't just like do nothing. And
multiple options now, which is so cool, right? Like,
but we don't sit in a circle and sing Kumbaya and chant. Like, it's not what we fucking do. Yeah. Clearly, I have a mouth like a trucker. Like, come on. But like, we become who we're meant to be, and without people looking down on us, and even the people that do look down on us, we're like, fuck you. I don't care. You don't matter. I'm going to be the one living my best life, doing the things that matter the most to me, while you're sitting there at your 9-to-5 job hating your life. And
Well,
that's
that's just it. And like, and it's not to say that everyone hates them. There are some people out there that absolutely, like, we are built through school from a very young age how to be an employee.
Yeah.
And being an employee for some people is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And so it is not to knock that. But there are so many of us out there that that's not for us.
No.
And it's a millennial thing. So a lot of the other generations, they don't understand it.
No, they don't.
Some are coming around a little bit, like seeing like, okay, like maybe they've got something here, right? There's other ways to create those retirement funds and do those different things. But until these things are proven, because they're so new, people don't believe it and they don't understand it. And it can be tricky because we're not working for someone else. I know I've fallen off the wagon sometimes. It's like, oh, I don't have to work today. I'm my own boss. And then one day turns into 8 days and you're like, whoa, hold on a second here.
Yeah.
Like that's not how it works, right? Like,
so this is a job still. Like this is still a career. This is something that you're building. You can't just like come in and out whenever you feel like it. You have to be consistent. You have to show up every day. Even if it's just posting your Insta stories, like
whatever it is,
a day, like whatever it is, you still have to show up. I mean, you're working in an online space. To be in an online space, people have to know who you are. You have to be seen. So to be consistent, to be in your business, you have to show up at least once, right? At least once a day. You have to do something. It doesn't have to be something that brings in a monetary value, but it does have to be something like, it would be no different than if you were working white collar and you had to show up at a business meeting. It's no different. Now you're just showing up because you're the boss of your company. You have to put those meetings on. You have to be the support system for your downline. You have to be the support for the people around you. You have to remember that. And don't say that people necessarily rely on you 100%, but they do. Like the people below you are looking up to you for advice and support and all those things. So you can't just like drop them and be like, sorry. And I've seen people do that. And I feel awful, terrible for the people who get, left stranded and they have nowhere to go. They have no mentor. They don't know what they're supposed to do next. And that's what I love about our community is that we swoop in and we're like, hey, we can still help you. Like, come over here, come to our team, come check this out. We care. And I think that's what's really important is that we've all realized that it's about caring. It's about taking that extra step out of your comfort zone and doing something bigger than yourself and doing something that's going to help someone else. Maybe that person's going to be more successful than you in a year. And that's amazing. That would make me feel incredible to be like, I freaking supported that girl. And now look at her, she's building a multi-million-dollar company. That's amazing. Good for her. Totally. I'm so proud of that. I helped you get there. That's a great feeling.
Absolutely. It's like, it's having the ability and putting in the effort to help empower other people.
Oh, 100%. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
It's absolutely amazing. And like you had said, like I've been now volunteering. I volunteered at 2 Awakens now. And I'm not going to lie. It's probably one of the first times in my life I've ever volunteered. Because I have always had the mindset, you mean I'm not getting paid for this?
Right.
Why would I put my money there? I never really understood the concept of volunteering until it was something that I truly had a passion for. Because I spent my 30th birthday at your Awaken. And I had multiple people be like, what'd you do for your birthday? And I was like, I was volunteering in a personal development course. And so many people were like, you did what? And I was like, it was the best fucking birthday I've ever had. So I don't know why anyone would ever think otherwise, because like it just like it blew my mind because and I even said it to Kent. I was like, I can't believe I've never like really volunteered before. Maybe it was my confidence levels, maybe it was because I was such an angry person. I was just like resting bitch face constantly, like what's wrong with you? Like honestly, like it's empowering. You feel good. You are helping people. Like even just like having a presence in the room, it doesn't matter what it is. Like I found a complete passion I never even knew existed. And so that's what's so cool about the online space is you find so many different avenues to go down.
Yeah, that's what I've discovered. Like here I was, I started out as a Beachbody coach. Do I still do that? Absolutely, because fitness is my passion. I absolutely want to help women, especially after having a baby or, whatever, just find themselves again, because that is such a hard struggle. Do I do it 100% all the time? No, not necessarily, but it is still something that I love to do. Now, then I jumped into GAZ. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
a whole new world was opened up to me. And now from GAZ, they've opened up like 50,000 other doors for me where I'm like, holy shit. Like all these things that I can do, you know, like it's crazy things that like I never thought in a million years I'd be like, I'm not good enough to start a podcast. What? And now I'm like, fuck you, I'm starting a podcast. Like it is coming. And I'm so excited for it.
I'm
like,
so excited.
So excited.
Because when you told me all the plans you had, I was like, oh, please, yes. Okay. Yes, but like when? Like how?
Yeah.
Okay. And like, look at you. You're crushing it. Like, I'm just like, I'm so freaking excited and it's amazing. And like, that's what I love. Like, that is the shit that just is like, fills my cup right up.
Totally. And for me, it's like now I'm at the point, like, yes, when I got started, it was absolutely all money. It was like, look at these people that are crushing out, you know, 100, 200, 300, $500,000 a year on online marketing. That is amazing. And absolutely, I'm going to get there. But now it's not about the money. It's about everything else that I'm doing and building and like it took a whole new perspective on building a legacy and building an empire. You know, it wasn't about the money anymore. Now it's about helping people and letting them get their same realizations that I got coming into this community, you know? And that to me is way more exciting than dollar signs. Is helping those people hit those realizations, find those aha moments where you can see it click in them. Like you say something to them and all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, you're totally right. Like I am that person. That is my fault. I need to change that. Something needs to change. I love watching that thing click. And one of the things I did when I came home from Awaken was I sat down and I took out a huge piece of paper and I wrote in the middle the name of my business, Enriched Life by Design. And then I said what my $1 million business looks like. And this piece of paper was like fucking huge. And I broke out all my colorful Sharpies and I went to town and I was like, things like, my course has a wait list and my podcast has over 10 million downloads and I'm starting a kids camp for personal development and learning how to be an adult, right? Like learning how to vote and pay your taxes and things that they don't teach you in school.
That's some good shit right there.
And like my other events, my women's retreats, like all these things. And I put it right beside my bed. So it's the first thing I see when I wake up every morning is I get up and I see that. And below that, I did another little exercise where I actually took this from Badass Business Babe, Lauren Eli's Love. And she posted it and she was like, this exercise is called My Girl. So you write My Girl in the middle and then you do like a mind map and you think of things that you personally struggled with and conquered. You overcame those struggles. So certain things like I had body image issues, or one of my big triggers is money. Money is a huge trigger for me. And it's something that I still struggle with to this day is money. And I just went to town on that, right? But it helped me realize the type of people that I want to help, right? By seeing those things, by seeing the things that I overcame, I need to help women like me do that. And it just opened up my mind. And I was so glad that I did that exercise. It was so powerful for me because everyone's always like, what's your avatar? What's your avatar? Like, target your avatar. And you're like, well, I don't fucking know what is that?
Yeah, right.
But when you really break it down into understanding what you struggled with, but overcame, how did you do that? Well, there's a course right there. There's a way to teach women. If you struggled with body image, if you struggled with losing weight after baby, whatever, you know, how did you do that? Well, this is how I did it. Do an outline of it. Boom. There's a course that you can help other women, a mini course, whatever. Just get your stuff out there and start helping people. Nothing is ever perfect. Your ducks will never be in a row, but no one will ever know how to do these things unless you help them or unless you show them the way or, you know, slap the ignorance out of them because we're all ignorant to it. And we're, you know, like you were saying, oh, I'm perfect. Right? Like,
oh yeah.
There's so many of us that feel that way, but it's not me.
And there's so many of us that would just like it's taken a long time for me to even be able to admit something like that. So
Mhm.
most people are going to be like, oh, that's not me. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Right. And
my relationship's not working because he sucks. It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. And so like, and
but wait a second, you're 36 years old and you haven't had a relationship for over a 3-year period.
Ooh.
Explain that.
Ooh, that one. Just
kidding. I may know a few of those.
But like, exactly, there's so many. Or like, why haven't I lost the weight? Or why haven't I gotten this? I do so much of this, but why haven't I lost it? Or
yeah,
you know, like I work so hard and I pick up so much overtime, but like I still have no money. Or I like, there's so many different things.
mm-hmm.
And it's that I need mindset. And when we switch that and even recognize that that's the way that we do think and that there is another way, that's like the most powerful thing. And being able to share techniques, because all it takes is one person to say something to make it click. So you can hear the same thing like 10, 15 times over and not click for someone. And then all of a sudden, the way that maybe you did it in your course, like just one little thing you put out there could click for someone. And that's why it's so important to get the information out there. Just one like live video, a course, start something, and it's going to pop up on someone's newsfeed and it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And
how are you ever going to know like, if you don't get your fucking shit out there? You know what I mean?
And that's when the ripple starts.
Yeah.
It can take one little thing, and that's when it starts to flow and everything starts to move.
Totally. 100%. And it's actually really funny because a friend of ours, he messaged me the other night and he was like, just like, hey, how's it going? And we started chatting. And then he told me that him and his girlfriend split up, or him and his wife split up, and they have a little boy. And I was like, oh, buddy, like, that's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. And right away, he like said to me, well, no, what did I say to him? I said something to him about like, buddy, you just got to fill your cup first. Cause he said he was lost. And I said, buddy, you just got to fill your cup first. You got to start with you. That's the only place to start. You're going to be no good to your little boy or anyone else around you if you don't find yourself again, because you probably lost a bit of that in everything that had happened with the breakup and everything else. Like, you need to find yourself. And he's like, I'm here for you, man. Like, I'm totally here for you. If you need anything, me and Chris are here for you. And he said, yep, that's why I reached out to you. He's like, you and Chris are a total inspiration to me, and blah, 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 like just went off. And I was like, oh my God. So then I said to Chris, I was like, okay, you and me, we need to do a relationship course and we need to do a podcast, because clearly like people look up to us. You know, we've been together for 13 years. We've been married for 10 this September. You know, like that's a big deal for someone our age. Like I don't know how many friends I have that are breaking up, on the brinks of divorce, on their second marriage, and I'm 31. And I'm like, what? You're telling me like you were married twice before you were even 30? Like, that just, I feel like there's always there's something there, you know? And I'm not saying that what they did was wrong or bad or whatever. I mean, there are people I know that are on their second marriage, and it's because that person found themselves in their first marriage and realized that that was a mistake, that getting into that marriage wasn't right. And they needed to get away from that and do their own thing for a while. And then they did find Mr. Right. And it was like, everything just came together the way that it was supposed to be. And I think that's magical. Not everybody finds it that way and ends up going through relationship after relationship after relationship. But like for me and Chris, and even you and Kent, like look at what you guys have gone through. And, you know, like you were saying, 11 years and a baby, and now you guys are getting married this year. Like, that's so amazing.
It's been crazy because we've been engaged for 5. We've had moments of like threatening to leave each other, leaving each other. Like there's just been so much involved in it. And there's a lot of points in time where I know that was if one of us hadn't have reached out, that would have been it. Yeah. Right. But there was something holding us together. And then all of a sudden it came to like, it took him, and all it took was practicing gratitude. Right. And for me, one of the biggest things was the 5 love languages. Oh yeah. Right. I read that before I even read the magic. And it's like a huge eye opener getting to see, oh, you mean there's other ways to love people? Yeah. or
Right.
show people that you love them, or like when you recognize people's pasts and all the different things that is encompassed into creating a person, there's a lot of baggage on both sides. Even if you had the best childhood, there is stuff there.
Oh,
and it encompasses how you act in relationships and everything. And I think one of the biggest things that people think is like, it's like almost like a voodoo, is like seeking help.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the fear of being wrong or it being my fault or whatever it is, when really it's a two-way street and there's factors from both people that play into it. And I think that's why we see divorce so much, because people hold such high expectations and you're not meeting it, you're not meeting it, you're not meeting it. Okay, see ya. And then it's just done. And then you have two angry people that can't communicate anymore. And it's just like,
oh, and then you throw kids
involved. Yeah, see, like we could go on for days, but like
that's another show, guys.
But like, if
I'll bring you on my podcast, we'll have a relationship show.
Oh my gosh! But like, that's just it, right? Like, you have two people, you go seek help, and like maybe we don't love each other, or maybe this isn't going to work. But like, we have a child. Like, let's keep the communication open. Let's do these things. How can we create an atmosphere where this child can grow up and see what love is between parents, but also maybe between two new couples?
Yeah.
That'll change everything for the child that's growing up, as opposed to two parents that are angry at each other.
Oh man, I could go on a tangent about that stuff.
And that's why I love the magic so much, because it really involves all of that kind of stuff. Like, there's a day in there where you're grateful for relationships. And one of the examples is like, if you're split up, you're grateful for your previous partner and what they've done and how they were previously and how they were with your children. And it just like can bring so much ease, I would assume, to those types of relationships, right? And like, I remember that chapter affecting me huge, because I was still in such a dark place the first time I read that book, and like, that helped me so much. So like, I just can't imagine like releasing, when I got to release so much anger, like I became on cloud 9, and I was like, this is so freaking weird. Like, something shitty's got to happen to me because I am high right now.
And something bad might have, because there's this odd thing called balance in the universe.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Things balance you out, but then you're able to see the good and the bad that equals it out. Totally. And you can be like, okay, that happened to me because I was getting that, like, woo, like, this is too good. Like, something's got to balance me out, or I'm going to get that, like, ego flowing and, like, all of that stuff, right? Instead of just being totally, like, neutral. Like, you have your ups and downs, and you want to find that neutral line, and it's powerful.
It's so powerful.
Recognizing it, that you don't get stuck in that low all the time.
And when you are stuck in that low, it is really hard to pull yourself out. But once you pull yourself out of it and have a look back on the journey that it took you through, like, to get there, you're like, holy man. And I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't go through that journey. And I wouldn't be able to teach other people how to get through that dark path. And I think a lot of people, like you were saying, get that embarrassment and they hold on to it and they don't want to share that. And fucking share it, people, because you are not the only one. Guaranteed there are hundreds of thousands of people out there that feel the exact same way as you. And if you don't share your story, then they won't share your story, and no one's helping anyone. Right?
Totally.
Just speak the truth. Be who you are. And
that's why the internet's so beautiful, because like, it doesn't, like, you can just say it and millions of people are going to see you. And they're going to hear it. So like, it's such a cool thing, because you're able to put your voice out there. Like, if we didn't have the internet, I wouldn't know you. I never would have gone any of these courses. I'd probably be still an angry little biatch somewhere. And like, that's just how life would be. And that's just what it like.
Yep.
That's just what it would be.
We don't have to live like that anymore. Like,
exactly.
You can find the people that you wish you had in high school, you know? Like, I didn't have people in high school. Like, I did and I didn't, but I tried to sort of fit in with everyone, and every clique had their own thing, and it was just exhausting. Like, I never want to go back to high school ever again.
There's my mirror.
Right?
Oh my God.
Oh, I hated high school. I actually said, like, if you read in my yearbook, like the little statement that we give, what are you going to miss most about high school? I was like, nothing. It's done. It's over. I'm so glad it's over. I'm moving on with my life. I never want to come back here. Like, period.
That's crazy, right? Like,
high school is a hellhole that builds negative, pissed off people. Like, No thanks.
Yeah.
No.
I couldn't be more on page with you right there. So.
Oh, okay. So what time we got? 8:02, 9:02. We're over the hour mark. Holy man.
Get us talking.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm pretty sure we touched on everything without actually me having to like ask you questions. So that was kind of cool. I guess the one last thing that I want to touch on is like your future plans. What can we expect from you? Do you have any projects on the go? And where can we find you on social media, my love?
Okay, well, let's see here. I've got a few things on the go. Some stuff I can't really talk too much about. I didn't get Paulette's permission, but I will drop one thing is because we haven't announced it yet.
Ooh.
But so I actually have a page, as you can see here, one of my closest lovely women in my life. I met through the online world, Miss Paulette. We started a wine lives page together. So very similar to Gossip Girls. We drink wine, we talk the shit, and like real life struggles, wins, inspire people. And all we do, we just grab a glass of wine or whatever suits our fancy that evening. Yeah. And we just have a page. We're starting our YouTube channel. So you can just go to Paulette and Bex. There's no wine lives on it on YouTube, but we have our episodes on there now. So we are going to be continuing that. We've got some really cool stuff. We're meeting up at the end of this month for 3 nights, 4 days. So there's going to be some really cool stuff coming out there. That's about all I can release on that.
That's exciting. Little dip in there.
No little dip. Kent and I actually had our own marketing business together. He is now ventured in another direction himself. Right. So I have taken on our business myself. So I recently started my own page. So Rebecca X Wells. And that's where I do all of I share my wins, my life, my stuff over there. Yeah. We also have Kent and Beck's Project Mindshift. So we just became, we are hired on to be the outfitters for a hunting area this year. So that is backcountry bighorns we are doing in Alberta. We're going to do some hunting there for anyone interested in the hunting. There is, it's through really good friends of ours. They have a big hunting thing, Backcountry BC and Beyond. You can check out their website. It's pretty friggin' cool. Nice. If you're into that kind of stuff. Yeah. and then I'm going to be going to Accelerate this year. So in next month. So I honestly don't know what that's going to bring. I have some ideas for like plans, my goals for the next year, 3 years, 5 years. We're getting married. Things are changing. We're planning more children like after we get married. So it's honestly going to be kind of a whirlwind. I don't know like legit where everything's going to go, but all I know is I'm so freaking excited because I've told everyone this, that like when I was like 27, I was terrified to turn 30. Like, oh my gosh, 30, I don't know why was going to be the end of the world. And in this last year, when I turned 29 and I started going through my 29th year, or I guess I was in my 30th year. Yeah. It became the best year of my life, like legit the best year. And when I turned 30, I was like so excited. Like I could not wait to turn 30 because I am so excited that this year is good. Like if this year tops last year, I can't even tell you how amazing it would be. And so that's literally like where I'm headed, what's going on. Things are kind of evolving and we're taking different avenues, Kent and I, but it's just so exciting because we've just fallen into like our own passions and it's just so cool.
Yeah. And you support each other. I think that's what's really amazing about it is even like with me and Chris, I'm watching his goals change and become more like less monetary and more about helping people. Because he's celiac. So for him, that's one thing that he really wants to actually help people with because he struggles with it all the time. He's like, it's amazing how many things out there like that I'll eat and I'll think it's gluten-free and then boom, I'm sick the next day and I'm like, what the hell? And he's like, I feel like more people need to have more knowledge around that because when I am completely gluten-free and I'm feeling really good, I feel really good. But when I feel shitty, I'm like, oh man.
Like that Kent has celiac.
Yeah. When we were at Awaken, I was like, you too.
It's been 6 years now since he's been diagnosed. 6.
Okay.
So when he was first diagnosed, it was chaos. Learning how to create the house to be gluten-free, separate toasters, certain things. And then finally, the whole house just became gluten-free. I have one shelf with my own stuff, my own toaster. If I want it, I don't even eat it anymore.
Yeah.
And just learning how to do all of that. Like Caleb's got his little snacks. Certain things aren't gluten-free, like goldfish. Who the heck doesn't give their kids goldfish?
I know,
but
right?
celiac is hereditary. So it took me a long time. Caleb went almost a year with no gluten when he was first born, and so that I knew what his allergies were, what his sensitivities were. And I slowly introduced it to him, and he doesn't react. So I have to keep feeding it to him, because if we choose to keep our children gluten-free, then they just develop sensitivities.
Yeah.
And they're just not gonna be able to eat it anyways, right? Like, it's just like anyone that goes gluten-free that shouldn't be gluten-free.
Yeah.
But it's now when you go to the store, oh, it's like heaven for me.
I know.
Where like it is so good in the stores now. But when we first started, nothing was certified. No. Like it was like horrendous.
Yeah.
And now it's just so much easier. And like Pinterest is my best friend. And here in town, like we have a couple restaurants that are absolutely incredible that we know we can go to, no problems. Certain ones that say they're gluten-free that we cannot go to because like, let's not risk that.
Yeah.
And then Kimberly, we used to live in Kimberly. We're in Cranbrook now, but Kimberly has some incredible places as well that are so good. But it's honestly, it's still like, I love that Chris wants to help with that, because it's such a thing that is undermined, right? Like it's a fact.
Well, even his parents are always like, oh, well, gluten, a small amount, it's moderation. A small amount of gluten is good for you. Not for Chris. And his mom, I know she's celiac and she won't go get tested. So I'm like, so you'd rather be in pain all the time and feel sick?
Lifestyle changes are terrifying.
Right? And it's huge. She has asked me to like give her some information and stuff on like what we do and where we shop and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but like even when we go there for dinner, it's like I have to tell her, no, you can't make this. And if you do this, you have to use cornstarch. And if you do this, like, do you want me to just bring food? Right? A lot of the time it's just come down to that, where I will just make meals and bring them with us, because I'm like, I'm not going to chance it. I'm like, he's in pain. He is sore and in pain and struggling for days. It's
like, especially it's almost worse. Like once you go gluten-free and then you get hit with it, it's worse than like, oh yeah. I feel like we could go on for days about all.
Right. I actually did struggle with that at Awaken, because I was just kind of eating whatever when we were there. And I was in like excruciating pain for like 2 days that I was there. And I said to Emily, I was like, maybe I should like not eat the stuff. Like maybe I should go with like the gluten stuff, like the gluten-free stuff. And she's like, well, why? And I'm like, well, because most of the time I don't eat gluten either, because Chris doesn't eat it.
So what I had to do, we can talk about this after.
Yeah, we can talk about that after. Anyways, that was super fun. I completely finished my glass of wine.
Oh, I'm almost here.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yes, you and me, we need to do like, we will definitely be doing this again. Like this will be happening again.
For sure. I'm down anytime. Thank you so much for having me on. This was super fun. I loved it.
And, I loved it too.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much again for tuning on. Make sure you go check out Rebecca's sites on her Facebook page. Are you on Instagram?
Oh, yeah. Rebecca.
Yeah, what's your Instagram login? Do you know?
Girl. I don't know. Rebecca X Wells. That's my name.
I think that's it. So at Rebecca X Wells is Rebecca on Instagram.
I'm a little bit active there, but I wouldn't say business-wise yet. So.
Yeah. Still fun. Yeah. You will.
Just follow me for my cute ginger too. Hop over there.
Anyways, guys, like I said before, please refer a friend to this broadcast and stay tuned for my podcast. She's coming out soon. I'll be announcing that on my page. Love and appreciate you all. Mwah. Have a wonderful Saturday. Bye, everybody.